From painting on faux area rugs to drenching cabinets in what appears to be human blood, Joan Steffens and Nan Sloan destroyed people's homes for 31 seasons straight on a 90s HGTV show called Decorating Sense. Though I love unique and colorful decor, watching these two women transform a room into what appears to be the poorly crafted set of a high school production of Seussical when I'm watching TikTok at 3 a.m. makes me wonder what was in the water in 1997. Was this the peak of interior decorating back then? Did people think it looked good? Join me as I unpack the horrors of 1990s HGTV. HGTV is radically different from what it was 3 decades ago. While today the network has viewership in the millions and broadcast shows with rather high production value, this was not the case when it was launched in 1994. The network operated with a small staff and outsourced the creation of its shows to independent US-based production houses. Its earlier programming seems to reflect a non-existent budget, and Decorating Sense is no exception. The show has a simple premise. The two hosts are challenged to dramatically transform a space for under $500. With a limited renovation budget and no need for specialized equipment, contractors, or electricians, an episode of a show like Decorating Sense is quite easy to throw together, and thrown together they were. The show feels like an exercise in improv. It's as if the crew simply turned on the cameras and left the two hosts to wing it. Some of the questionable design choices seem to be made on the spot, with the hosts sometimes undoing their work in rare moments of self-awareness when they realize just how awful something turned out. My favorite moment from the show is when they took a perfectly fine cabinet and decoupaged sacred Indian prayers onto it. And then they realized it looked atrocious, tried to remove it, and gave up, with their excuse being that the remnants of glue and paper looked nice, actually.
We loved the distressed, aged look we had mistakenly created.
The furnishings and knickknacks incorporated into the renovations, rather than appearing impeccably curated, seemed to be surplus from a rummage sale, chosen not because they fit the space, but because they were readily available. For example, in one bathroom renovation, a bench is inexplicably tossed into the space right next to the toilet. Perhaps this was intended as an observation deck for the owner's cats who like to watch her poop. Or maybe it was intended to be a convenient place to rest one's wet, bare buttocks on after showering, but more likely there was little intent behind placing it there at all. Joan and Nan seem like they're just burning through the $500 they have to work with on anything they can get their hands on, even if it's not economical, pretty, or useful. The budgeting aspect of the show is the most interesting part, and often the cost breakdowns make no sense. Some things are just inexplicably expensive, especially when you consider these prices are from the late 90s. That same bathroom redecorating included a lamp that cost $34. Adjusted for inflation, that's well over $60 in today's money for what is essentially a throwaway item in such a well-lit space. Why are they spending nearly 10% of their entire budget on just 3 items on top of the shelf when this money could be allocated towards finding a better stain for the cabinet that doesn't look like human blood? Speaking of the blood-stained cabinet, it sometimes feels like they do things just for the sake of doing them. There was no need to alter the finish of the cabinet, yet they went ahead and did so anyway. Doing things that do not need to be done, or perhaps should not be done, is a theme of Decorating Sense. The spaces they transform are often small, but they still need to fill up 22 minutes of airtime. Thus, you'll find significant portions of the show are dedicated to things like smashing plates so they can glue jagged porcelain shards onto a coffee table.
I can do this all day. Yes!
TikToker Rob Anderson points out the obvious, that such a table is hard to clean and is not safe to interact with. Choices like this make it clear that they really don't think about whether or not their alterations to a space make it livable. Coffee tables covered in dangerous porcelain plate shards and what appears to be barbed wire placed above windows feels less like creature comforts and more like hostile architecture. In their quest to be unique and creative, Joan and Nan forget that interior decorating is limited by what layouts are functional and pleasing to inhabit. Though the limits of functionality can cause designs to look the same, sometimes that's okay, because not everything can be original while retaining its usefulness. For example, if you're attempting to design a fresh new look for a car, you can't add square wheels to it. That would look unique, but it wouldn't drive well. The hosts of Decorating Sense don't care much about functionality as long as they make unique choices, and they're constantly reinventing the wheel on the show. It's like when they revamped this dresser and chose to replace all the handles on it with hunks of birch. Not only do these handles look uncomfortable to use, but their unfinished quality means they would catch on the threads of any clothing you would pull out of the drawers, potentially damaging it. Also, these sawn-up hunks of birch inexplicably cost $50, again with the outrageous prices on otherwise inconsequential items in the space. The survivors of Decorating Sense have started to share their stories on TikTok. Their experiences range from positive to overwhelmingly negative. Here's the owner of that peculiar bathroom with the blood-stained cabinet and viewing bench. Considering the decor of the rest of the house, the design choices in the bathroom somehow make sense in context. I'm happy to see that the house didn't undergo a millennial gray renovation. It has lots of character and there's nothing really wrong with it. This idea that you have to rent a dumpster and gut your kitchen every 5 years to keep up with the Joneses and their newfangled invisible induction countertop or whatever is so wasteful. Though this owner finds the episode her family appeared on nostalgic and doesn't hate the decor, others who have appeared on the show feel personally wronged by the hosts, who did not listen to their wishes at all. One woman told her experience of seeing her childhood bedroom after the hosts ignored her one passionate request to paint her room pink.
And there's no doubt what color Mindy wants.
Pink. I love pink.
She made this very clear in the episode, but the designers only made a small part of it pink and painted the rest the color of a pale pea soup. Obviously, she hated it, but she described what it was like having a camera shoved in her face and being asked about her opinion of the room on TV.
First, green, pea green. I hated that color then. After that, I put everything back in my room. It was just very confusing to me. There's cameras watching you, and they're asking if you like it. You can't say no. They just worked on it.
Not only did she feel pressured to pretend that she liked it, but her family paid $500 for the host to destroy her room. That's right. The owners allegedly pay the renovation bill, which is ridiculous. HGTV not only should have covered that relatively small expense compared to the massive operating budget of running a TV network, but they also should have compensated these families for the use of their homes. Apparently, HGTV has made this a long tradition of allegedly charging people for awful renovations. In 2017, HGTV settled a lawsuit from a couple who appeared on the hit show Love It or List It. The couple alleged that HGTV charged them $140,000 and hired contractors who did substandard work. They even accused the production company of taking some of the renovation money for themselves. The wording in their lawsuit, that their house was treated as a mere stage set for this television series, is also the perfect way to describe how homes were treated on Decorating Sense. The designer is given a blank check to do whatever they want to the space, no matter how hideous the homeowner might find it when their changes are revealed to them. As HGTV grew over the years, this potentially exploitative arrangement became more high stakes, as the money changing hands went from being hundreds of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars. HGTV claims they've completed many successful renovations, and I believe them. I imagine there are many people who were pleased with their experiences on their shows. Those with poor experiences are likely just the most outspoken. Though we laugh at the wild design trends featured on 90s HGTV programming, I imagine we won't look too kindly on even the most uncontroversial and ubiquitous trends in home design in our decade. I sincerely hope that the owners of these homes liked the renovations, as that is what really matters. I also want to say that I much prefer a quirky bathroom with a viewing bench and a cow lamp over a cold and clinical gray stone tile bathroom with absolutely no character. Things that are loud and unique have fallen out of favor in interior decorating, and part of me wants to see a resurgence of this era, but I don't think I'll be painting an area rug on my hardwood floors anytime soon. Anyway, I'm Robert Tolpe, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye!